Hello, guys. Hello, hello, hello. Who's there? Is anyone there or not? Who is there? Huh? Show me your hands. No one, huh? That's fine. It's pretty much fine. Show me your hands. Pam pam pa pam pa 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 pam 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 pam. Nearly done. Nearly done. Okay. Okay. Are we ready? We ready? Yeah, we're ready. Hello. Good evening. Incredibly enough, I'm here also tonight. Huh? Incredible. We have a picture of the day with a bald guy. The old houses. This screenshot probably has more than 15 years. Fantastic. I want to continue today with the procedural dungeon generation and in particular with the furniture stuff. Because we made very good progress yesterday. And we nearly reached the point where we can generate the loot, right? And I was just trying now to just shortcut a bit the discussion and say, what if I just assign a random loot ID, right? Example 1, to that loot, do you think it's gonna work? Now, this is going to add loot directly to your inventory. So even if you don't want to, you will get the items. Which I think at the end is fine. So let's see what happens. Okay? My boys, let's see what happens. Hello, Marcelo. Buenos días. Buenos días. You said bon dia. Bueno. Dia is buenos dia. Buenos, eh? Because dia is masculine, huh? Buenos dias. Buenos dias. I don't know, it's not Italian, so I'm just buenos, not buenas. Buenos. Buenos dias, senor. Hello, I can show my hand, but I can show what I have inside Doritos. You have Doritos in your hand, Ula. You are eating Doritos. Very nice. Like Doritos. I don't know if they are very healthy, but anyway, I mean, if you don't exaggerate, you know, you just eat a few. I think that is fine. Look at our barrel, right? Standing there waiting for us. And if I right click, look at this. We have a loot icon. And now the question is, if I click on loot, what will happen? I received a steel falcon, I received a gold falcon, I received 33 Tria. Fantastic. The only problem is there is zero sound. That zero sound I think is kind of annoying though. Shouldn't there be something like Now? Let me change the music. Like a small sound, like a blip blip. Because actually, yes, we got the items. We got the items. We got the items and we got the money. Now, one thing that we have to do is that after we looted, so basically it works, right? But after we looted, we have to disable the looting. Otherwise, you can continue forever, right? You can loot again, and loot again, and loot again, you know? You see how many falcons I have now? So this is not how it was intended, right? This is not how it was intended. So, yep. Let me just destroy this stuff because I don't need it. Destroyed. Now, if you have a full inventory, what happens? Well, you have the chest, so it will try to add stuff to your chest first of all. Even if all these ones are all Arcana chests. So, do I have a container actually with this character? Looks like the answer is no. So if I fill my inventory, what will happen then? I think we will go to the ground potentially. Yeah, it's going to the ground. The problem is that it's going... I mean, it's okay. It's going to your feet. I mean, it's going to your position. To your feet or to your position? I think to your feet. I'm too far. Uh-oh. I don't know exactly where it's going. I mean, it's going to... Not to your feet. It's going randomly to... Huh? That is not very good, actually. This is not very good. Also, I see that it's not stacking in any possible way. It's not stacking. Is a bit annoying that it's not stacking. Okay, let me see what happens when we loot, right? When we loot... when we loot... add or drop, right? This add or drop is the function that is actually adding to your inventory or dropping. Bool stack. Stack is actually off. PT though. Why stack is off? Do we want stack on? I think yes. I think we want stack on. By the way, the default is true. So it means that we are explicitly saying false. Why? Because you may have a similar item of higher quality and you don't want to mix it. I think I can leave it as false and see so we don't disrupt people's inventory. And then but I think false is kind of annoying. Now let's leave it as false. I think that true is potentially doing damages. Okay, but I want to understand if it's dropped to the ground, then what happens? Drop item. Drop an item into the world 1 meter from this character position. 1 meter from this character position. I think it's the wrong meter. I mean, it's going Z instead of going X or what? Let me see. Suggested position X, Y, Z. Enter position in place. Because in place can be true. In place can be true, which, by the way, by default is false. So it will be false, so it will not be in place. Okay. Will not be in place. So what do? We suggest a position. We don't have a suggested position. Suggested position minus location. Where? Delta sides. Huh? What? Delta sides. Did we print that or no? I don't know if we print that thing. Suggested position 000. Oh my god, 000 is a very bad idea. Suggested position 000. No position specified. Drop distance. What is this drop distance? 55. XYZ. Yeah, that is fucked up. Because it should be... Yeah, the problem is that it may go into a wall, actually. It may go into a wall. I mean, if you are very close to the wall and he's selecting a position that is inside a wall, I mean, that's a problem. But yeah, this one is fucked up because this one should be not on the Z, but on the Y, obviously, right? X and Y. But I don't know if I want to do it this way. Or we reduce this 55 to very, very, very small, like, so like... I mean, I think 55 is pretty much the size of the capsule. So... I would say it's fine, probably. Play the drop item sound for this item. Okay. Announce that. I think 55 could be okay. It will be around the player. The problem is that we are taking the player position, right? The player position... We are taking the player position. And the player position is not on the ground. The player position is for sure floating above. So, or we line trace down, or I think we have to line trace down actually. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. We can try like this, but yeah, the best will be at least to line trace down to the ground, so that the item is sitting on the ground. And we will have to be sure that we are deleting anyway all these objects when we delete the dungeon, because the people may spam, you know, and leave stuff around, and that could be annoying. We can line trace down. I mean, we do it already. I just don't understand too much this suggested position. You specify suggested position. Line trace. We have to line trace down, right? Line trace single. So we do it when we respawn. Yeah, like this. We line trace vertical to find the proper location on the ground. Yeah, exactly this. Can we transform this into a function instead of, you know, every time copy pasting the same code? I mean, I know that we create an item like tracing to the ground to find it, because the start position, right, is, well, the difference is could be the range. War static, war dynamic. I mean, pretty much is this block, right? Pretty much. I don't know if because actually some variables here will change, like this minus 500, right? But I can make it a parameter. And war static, war dynamic will remain the same. The blocking hit. We will return the trace result, right? I think it's a bit different every yeah, because the message will be a bit I don't know. I can also copy paste it. I mean, it's fine. Not super happy about it, but it's okay. But I think we had actually a get ground position. Wait a second. I think I had, for the specific character, right, something that was called like get actor ground location. How I was doing this? Let me see. Capsule alpha 8, capsule component, capsule alpha 8 actor location. Simply like that, without a line trace. That's a good idea, actually. Does it work if I'm crouched? That I don't know. Because when I'm crouched, is my capsule going... I mean, it is my capsule when I'm up. Yeah, because the capsule becomes half of me, right? In crouched, so... I think it may still work anyway. Yeah, because I remember now that we have that get ground location. I think we can use this, actually. I think we can use this. So I think we can set the location to... Oops. I think we can set the location here, actually. So this location, I think, will be get ground location. Get a location on the ground, right? Hello, Video Nomad. Hey. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So we go get actor ground location, which I think is a good one. And then from that location we go this 55, and in theory we should not put it in the wall. If we put it in the wall, it's fine. I mean, I don't have a better way at the moment. Now the only problem is that this item, right, will remain. Yeah, it will remain actually. It will remain. I mean, that is kind of a special case, but I think it's very likely to happen that people have the full inventory and they drop items to the ground. I think it's kind of likely, actually. Bum, 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 bum. But anyway, it seems to me that the dungeon generation is fairly solid, right? Because I generated now hundreds of dungeons, right? One after the other. Every time I click here and we generate a new one, and you know, seems to be good. Do we have a secondary loot? No, we only have a there is a secondary loot here. Nice. I don't know if I want to have the secondary loot in the same room where I have the primary loot, but I think it's probably okay. So I want to see if he's dropping now to the ground in a decent position. Yeah, you see he dropped pretty much at my back. Now if I'm crouched, I want to see if he's still dropping in a reasonable spot. Yeah, kind of it is, yeah. Yeah, anyway, the get ground location works. Okay. Is that a possibility to drop so many falcons at the same time? Because it looked like... Drop one gold steel falcon. One. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, you can drop up to 3 actually. And plus, I mean, at the moment it's very high chen, so, and then he has a minimum money of 10, maximum money of 35. Actually, one of the falcons should be randomized. Randomize probability. Strange though. 7. So we didn't get any. We got this one. We got one special. Okay. And also this one. Okay. I mean, obviously the purpose is not to stack a million objects, but also because they have a certain weight. Yeah, I'm definitely above weight here. Wow, 52. Okay, these numbers make no sense anyway. 6.5. Okay, the stack is 52. The stack is 52. Okay, but yeah, basically it works. Now we need to define the loot rules, but basically it works. Now the question is, which items, right, should we have, and how many should we have, and how many of them should be lootable, and also I think the question is, how do we manage the lootable respawn timer, right? Because I mean, having one timer for each seems to be a bit crazy. I'm undecided because so let's say that you are in the dungeon, right? You are in the dungeon and you are looting, right? So you are in the dungeon and you go. Oh fuck! Go, and you loot, right? And this is the entrance. And you find loot, and then you find the main loot, right? Which is here. Wait, I did this one in red. And the main loot is here, right? So at the moment, the way it works is that as soon as you pick up the main loot, right, a timer starts and that main loot will respawn after X amount of time. For example, half an hour, 10 minutes, right, 20 minutes. So there is really a specific timer on the loot itself, right? So on the piece of loot, on the chest, there is a timer on the chest. Now here we have a bunch of, you know, random guys. They can be maybe even 20 of them, right? So do we really want to have a timer for each? I mean, it looks a bit overkill, right? To have a time, I mean, that each one is respawning based on the on when it was looted. I mean, in theory, it makes sense, right? It would be the best way to do it. But I'm thinking if I can do it globally, like if I can have one timer for everything. Or maybe, you know what we can say? Maybe we can say that when the main loot is picked up, then it starts the real reset, right? That's not a bad idea. But basically means that if you don't pick up the main loot, it never resets, right? But that is not a bad idea. What do you think? So basically I will have to... The problem is that when I loot that... I don't really have a way to notify the dungeon that the main loot has been picked up, because picking up the main loot is is a separate operation. Has nothing to do with the dungeon. Unfortunately. I can maybe notify when the last door is opened, but it's pretty much the same because the last door... the last door... No, the last door is not reasonable. No, the last door is not reasonable because the door may not be there, and I mean it's a mess. I think the only possibility would be the main loot. But the main loot, you know, we have a pickup, right? We have a pickup function, and the pickup function doesn't know at all that we are in a dungeon. I mean, it doesn't care, right? It doesn't care that we are in a dungeon. It doesn't care. Doesn't care. I mean, in theory, I could do it here somewhere, right? So I could do it in the item schedule respawn, and but it's very messy. When a dungeon is empty, what do you mean empty? Empty like no players, or empty? Empty meaning looted. I mean, we can also add a manual, you know, dungeon reset, right? We can add a manual command that we issue, and that is actually resetting everything. But I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't know if we need a game master to be in and reset the dungeon. I think it's a bad idea. I think it would just make things more heavy on our side to manage. So I want the dungeon to basically function by itself. I mean, I can also add a timer, right? I can also add a timer for each chest, but this will be a bit heavy, right? So if we have like a dungeon with 100 rooms and we have 50 lootable things, you know, we will start 50 timers. So I don't really like the idea of having additional 50 timers only for the other loot, right? Or maybe it's a better idea. Can you know how many players are in the dungeon? Yeah, I can. If I want, I can. I mean, yeah, I have to do a check, but yeah, I can scan all the players and see if they are in that particular sector. Yeah. No, but I can also do another way, right? I can start a timer on the dungeon that is anyway resetting stuff every 30 minutes, right? Now, what may happen is that you just looted it and the dungeon resets, right? Because the dungeon doesn't know that you just looted, right? Or we can do it also a bit more evil. A bit more evil. That is, we can track the number of so let's say that I spawn 6 of these things, right? I spawn 6 lootable, 6 lootable. I could keep track of the 6 lootable because there can also be some of those that are not lootable, right? I can keep track of the 6 of number 6, and then every time I loot, I can send a message to the dungeon saying +1, right? And when we reach 6, I start a timer, right? I start a timer for regenerating the loot. So basically this means that the timer is only 1, no matter how many objects there are, and it doesn't respawn until everything is looted. So is that okay? I think that could be a good compromise. For me, it's not very hard because these lootable objects are actually dungeon objects. So those objects know that they are in a dungeon. While the main loot doesn't know, because it doesn't know when it's picked up, but these guys know when they are looted. Because I developed this function only for the dungeon. So I can say... or not. Let me think about it, because actually when I loot well, I will have to set anyway the object as not lootable anymore, right? So this is what we said. So for sure I have a piece of code that is saying I have a piece of code that is saying yeah, the only problem is that I mean creating loot happens also from other places, right? But let's say that we know that we are in lootable. Yeah, so I mean, this will be a bit hard-coded because in theory in the future we may have lootable interactables that are also outside of the dungeon. While here I can say, oh, if you are a lootable interactable, right? If you are a lootable interactable, keep track of the fact that you have been looted. Send a message to the dungeon object. And respawn stuff after that amount, right? And that amount can be the same amount of the main loot, the same number of minutes, or roughly, right? Cannot be exact, but it can be roughly the same amount. GG! Hello, Funner. Ah, you lost 300 points, huh? Gambling, always a bad idea. Invisible NPC GM. So this basically will mean that I have to say, you know, or we can put a threshold, but you know, putting a threshold like X amount of, I mean, the dungeon may know exactly how many items are lootable, right? How many are the lootable chest. He may know. He may know. So when I create, he may know, huh? Well, he knows because when I generate the loot, which is here, I can keep track of how many, right, lootable we have in the dungeon, right? We can. And the dungeon is this guy, so I'm already there. So I just need to add a variable that is keeping track of that. I think this is kind of a good compromise. I mean, it's not the best, but it's kind of reasonable. Dungeon start, no. Wait. I think it's kind of reasonable. Oh, this dungeon thing is becoming bigger and bigger every day. So keep track of how many furniture lootable we have in the dungeon, right? Which anyway may be useful for other stuff as well. So obviously it starts with 0, right? And then every time we generate a lootable one, we say plus plus, right? We say plus plus. So now we may have a remaining, right? We may have a remaining lootable furniture, right? Which is basically set to the same number of, I mean, at this level is set at the same number of this, right? Or I can even make it more explicit, right? So remaining is equal to the lootable at the creation stage, right? And then every time I loot one, right? And then every time I loot one, which is basically here, I say, even if you don't find anything, right? Even if you don't find anything, I will disable the lootable. So I will say target interactable is lootable false. So it becomes non-lootable temporarily. Good thing is Streamlabs and not real life cache. Yeah, exactly. And then we notify the dungeon object of the looted furniture, right? Now to do this, I basically have to check if this is actually part of that dungeon, because because maybe in the future I will have multiple ones, right? So I think I have it where? I have it in Spawn Manager. Yeah, get dungeon start object. No, get dungeon start object, right? So that guy. So here I could say looted one furniture, right? I can say looted one furniture. That will have to be a public function. Right? And looted one furniture will be very simple. We'll just increment by 1 the looted the remaining what? Why is not there? The remaining lootable furniture, no? So and then we say if if our lootable furniture is 0, right? So if remaining furniture is 0, then here we start the timer. Hello Parker, welcome back. So did we loot it all? Right? I mean, how do we know how many? Well, how many we can how many we can print it out? Well, yeah, we can print it out. When we exit from this, well, actually, when we finish the generation of the dungeon, when we finish the dungeon generation, here. So we can say how many lootable furniture we have at this point, right? And that will be spawned percentage day total lootable furniture items. Okay, and this will be lootable furniture item number. Okay, so at least we know, because otherwise it starts to be a bit messy, right? So when the dungeon finish, if we look at the server, we will see that number. Just for now, right? Just for our testing, but it's okay to keep it there. I think it's fine. Yeah, and so this number is the number that we want to track. So did we loot it all? So if that number goes to 0, I mean, I don't think it can be 0 at the beginning, right? Well, Do I want to pass the item here and check if that item is actually part of the... I think at the moment if we have one dungeon only, I think it's not a problem. But in theory, in the future, it may become a problem. If you have 2 dungeons, we will have to check if that is part of the lootable furniture items, right? But at the moment, we don't care. I can put a you fix me here, right? Saying if we will have multiple dungeons, add here the furniture item to check. Okay. Exactly. That's fine. For now, we don't need it. How about having one timer and resetting it every time an item is looted, maybe 1 hour, and it fall in a shorter time? Having a timer and resetting it every time an item is looted? No, that doesn't work because it means that if you wait in front of a lootable chest, it will respawn after some time. Doesn't solve the problem, I think. So we want a kind of a global respawn, right? Because it's basically when you will go back to redo the dungeon, maybe later on. Now, if there will be continuous players going in and out, in and out, in and out, obviously this will look a bit stupid. But if a group of players goes through the dungeon, completes it, then goes back, and then 1 hour later another group goes in, right? It will actually work well. If people continuously go in and out, I mean, you will still hit kind of randomly at a certain point the respawn, right? And people may find stuff randomly, you know, at a certain time. But that's unfortunately is unavoidable. I'm trying to obtain the same effect with the minimum resources needed, right? And the same effect with the minimum resources needed is this one. That we check when all the looted stuff is looted. And now, if people don't care and they don't loot them all, right? It may become a bit annoying because some of the loot will not actually never respawn, and so people will find empty stuff, right? But I think it's kind of fun though, because it means that the puzzle is not solved, right? I think it's okay. I mean, it's a bit of a weird mechanic, but yeah, exactly. So when he completes the dungeon, he lives or die. The next one, we'll have to find the missing items before he respawns again, right? So it's kind of a small quest into the quest. It's a small, you know, mini game inside the dungeon, and people will not know it, right? So they will not know what we know. So they had no idea. So sometimes they find stuff, sometimes they don't find stuff, and they don't understand why, right? And it's fine. I mean, because it's randomized. And then regularly we will anyway regenerate the whole dungeon, so maybe every week. So it's not really that important, right? I mean, it is important, but it's not a life or death kind of thing, right? So we can reset the dungeon anytime we want. So I mean, meaning regenerate it, not reset it. I could have a reset. I could have a manual command that is like reset, right? Which is actually... But at that point, I think it would just be easier to generate another one. I mean, if you want to reset, it's better to reset a new one than reset the same one, right? Because it will be more fun, you know, to do it differently than to do the same. So yeah, I think so I think if we looted it all, right, we want to start an event. Now, which event should we start? Because it's not the same as the respawn lootable. I think it should be a specific event for the dungeon, right? That is called something like furniture spawner or whatever, right? So similar to, I mean, similar to whatever. They're all the same. These classes are pretty much all the same. So can be this. So we can call it UPS Dungeon Furniture Reset. I don't know. Dungeon Furniture Reset, something like that. And I think we don't need any variables because no, I don't think so. So we will just generate, right? We will just generate this guy. We will just generate this guy the same way we generate like this guy, right? And oh, I placed it in the wrong place. But anyway, I will move it. So we start the furniture reset timer. Now the only thing that we need to decide is how long it is, right? How long it is. I think we have few constant already which are defining like how long is the, and I have to remember to change them. I think this one in theory should even be a configuration of the dungeon. I don't know. Because at the moment, do I have a dungeon thing here? Approach dungeon, loot respawn base. I mean, this is, at the moment it's 10 minutes, right? For that, with some RNG. This trap reactivate time, I think, is evil. I think we need so at the moment I can say 60 seconds because we are testing, but I have to remember to change these values, otherwise. Time after which time needed for the lootable furniture to become lootable again, right? And it's kind of a and it's a global thing, right? In seconds. So okay, so we start the timer, right? When the remaining lootable furniture is actually 0, and Yeah, if someone never completes the dungeon, you will have to complete it yourself, right? But the main loot will still be there, the monster will be there, so I mean, there will be stuff anyway, right? This is just to create kind of an asymmetric regeneration of stuff, which is not always the same, and I think it gives a bit of a variation and challenge, right? Okay. So what happens when we actually trigger, right? Because we need to trigger. So when we trigger, by the way, I have defined this class in the wrong place. Wait, UPS. No, wait. No. Not UPS interactable reset. UPS furniture something. UPS lootable. Right? How do we call it? UPS dungeon furniture reset. Yeah, this. So sorry, I have defined it in the wrong place. Because this should actually be in the header file, right? Okay. So so when we trigger, right? When we trigger, what do we do? Well, I think we have the list of all furniture. I think we have the list of all lootable furniture items. But yeah, I think we can create a function inside a dungeon. So we will ask spawn manager, right? We will ask spawn manager to actually call the dungeon start object, and inside the dungeon start object we will have like a furniture lootable furniture reset or something like that. Right? We will have a lootable furniture reset. Now this lootable furniture reset must be a public method. Yeah, should be. Right. And anyway, I'm really enjoying Rider. I think I need to send them an email. I'm really enjoying it. It's really working well. I mean, it's working super good. I have to send them an email because they gave it to me for free, and it's good. I have to say, I mean, the speed, like now, you know, I generated a function, I copied it. The speed I can execute these things compared to the Visual Studio speed, I mean, is not comparable. It's really not comparable. So this tool really improved my speed and my productivity. Really did. Really did. I mean, without dubs. So lootable furniture reset. So what we have to do? We have to go through. We have to go through our lootable furniture. Lootable. No, we have, I guess, a furniture instance. Yeah, furniture instances. Yeah, exactly. And furniture instances are what? They are just A actors, right? So we go through that, and for each one we do what? We set lootable. Set is lootable. No. Sorry. Why these guys? Why these guys are a actor and not interactable? I mean, why I need to do a cast? I don't want to do a cast actually. By the way, at the moment I'm not even tracking them. Now this should be APS interactable actor. I mean they are that, so I would say yeah. Okay, so when this happens, we go through all the furniture basically. Wait a second. Wait a second. This is not really true, because if I go through all, I will also flag to true the ones that are not really lootable. Ay. Well, I can do this. I can do this. If this is valid, right? If this is valid, then I can set it to true, because it means that he has a valid entry set. And so from this point on, all those will be lootable again. Okay? I think that is good. Now, if he's lootable, if he's not lootable, I think even the icon will not appear, right? I think the icon will not appear. Do we want the icon to appear anyway? And then it's telling you there is nothing? Or do we want... I mean, in theory as a player, you don't know. You don't know if it's lootable or is not lootable. Do I want the icon when it's not lootable? Do I want the icon? Yeah, I think I do. I think I want the icon, yes. I think I want the icon, but this means what? This means that when I'm generating the interactable, this means when I'm generating because at the moment, yeah, I have to do it only for lootable, otherwise it will appear also on the levers, right? I mean, like a lever will be lootable, which makes no sense. So I can put the icon only on the lootable. But then when it's not lootable, it will have the icon anyway. and you will find nothing. No, you will not have the icon. No, you will not have the icon. I think it's a bit confusing to have the icon, you know, to not have the icon. Because it's like if you know that it's not there, and I think that's weird. That's very weird. You know what we can do? We can do the same trick. We can get the lootable entry. We can get the lootable entry, which basically means that it may be lootable. It may be lootable, so you get the icon anyway. But then when you click on loot, then what will happen? When you click on loot, I mean, not here. Not here. Is when you click on lootable. Yeah, it's here. It's here. So you will. So yes, this will return true. This will return true. No, this will return false. So basically we'll do nothing. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So you will click on the icon. I think it would be nice if it would tell you you found nothing, but... So basically doing the check again on lootable entry right here. On lootable entry, and then immediately doing the check right, which I think is a good idea. Yeah, I think this is probably the best. So if it's not lootable, we just say didn't find anything, and we return. So basically you don't know, right? You have no idea if you don't find anything because at the moment it's not lootable, or because it's never lootable. So you basically have to check everything, and you get a seamless experience as a player, right? It's not that sometimes the icons appear, sometimes it doesn't appear, which I think is super annoying, right? Yeah, so I think like this is better. I think like this is better. Okay, let's see if it works. Now we have a 60 seconds. We have a 60-second respawn for now, right? Do we want to make that configurable on the dungeon object, maybe with a minimum of 60 seconds, so that in the dungeon window, so that you decide. I don't know if I want to decide here in the code how much is the delay, or handle on stick. GG. This is not working in Unreal, unfortunately. It is really not working in Unreal, my friends. But it's fine. I don't know how other projects are managing the unstuck, right? So how to manage the stack in geometry, right? I don't know how people do it. It has nothing to do with what we are doing, but it just came to my mind seeing the code. Definitive fix when your character gets stuck on the ground.
Hi there, I'm Simon Dersen, and I'm the creator of a game called Outrun the Sun. Today I'm shooting a very short video to show you how to fix your character from getting stuck in tile maps in Unity. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about when can this issue arise. Typically, if you're using a box collider for your main character...
But this is Unity! It's Unity! What do you mean? I said Unreal. So no one in Unreal is getting stuck. Okay. Easy. Easy. I'm excited. Wait. There was more other. I think I already know the answer, but have you take the time to test the other tool they gave you? Which other tool? No, I didn't. They gave me like 10 different software, but no, I didn't. We should though. I think there is at least one, which is the sequel, that should replace this tool. Potentially, but no, I didn't have the time. But it's a good reminder. I don't know, we should do it one day. Let me see what Parker was saying. I'm excited about this feature. Glad you're done with the bug fixes. Yeah, well, I did a lot of bug fixing, yes. Yeah, bug fixing is a bit boring, I guess, to look at, right? To follow on Twitch, but yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm doing on stream whatever I need for the game, so... Sometimes it's boring. Okay, so here we are in our dungeon now, and the dungeon is very simple. It's only 5 rooms, right? So we want to see how many we have generated. In theory, you should have tell us, right? Okay, in this case, it's very simple. Spawned 1 total lootable furniture item. So actually, we got only 1 lootable furniture item. Also because I didn't place the lootable in every room, right? We can also place it in the starting room, I guess. Yeah, we'll also place it in the starting room. So there may be traps, there may be stuff. This one is pretty empty. We can check. I'm just keeping the... There is 1 loot, which doesn't mean it's the main one, but anyway, there is 1 loot. We want to find... probably it's behind this door. Yeah, that's the one. And by the way, there's another main loot there. This is the one only lootable thing, right? So if I loot it now, right, we get 2 falcons and 23, yeah? And I try to loot it again, in theory it should be disabled. So I see the icon. You can only loot NPC. GG. Why saying you can only loot NPC? But anyway, in 60 seconds from now, it should be lootable again. Why saying you can only loot NPC? You can only loot... because we have to change this as well. Yeah, we have to change this. Get lootable entry. Okay, yeah, there was a small mistake. Okay, fine. So now we have to wait 60 seconds. And I can click on it as many times as I want. In theory, it will say you didn't find anything. Right? You didn't find anything. Now it's giving this message because the code was wrong. But in 60 seconds, if everything works, this will become lootable again. I don't know how long 60 seconds is, but 10, 58, something. Let's say 30, at 30 or something like that. Now, if he becomes lootable again, then I think we are good. Let's say at 20 or 30. Nope. I don't know, I didn't really look at the clock, so maybe it was after that. No. At 40. No. So probably the code didn't work. Probably the code didn't work. I mean, I've seen 58, so shit. So this means that our code didn't work. So it means that the trigger didn't trigger. It means that the trigger didn't trigger. Okay, we have to run it in debug mode because something is happening. He's not doing what he should do. So basically the minus mine, let me just see if I have all the code in place because maybe I forgot a piece, but basically when we are looting, which is here, right? We disable the lootable, okay. And then we notify the dungeon object of the looted first. So we call this function, and this function is doing what? Is removing 1 from remaining lootable furniture, right? And so that should have in theory moved the number from 1 to 0. And so in theory we should have went here and started the new event at 60 seconds from now, right? Which is this dungeon furniture reset that we have set at 60 seconds. And then when that is actually triggering, which is here, it should have called this function, and this function should have... I didn't add it to the freaking thing. Wait, that's the mistake. That's the mistake. That's the mistake. I didn't add my guy. I didn't add my guy to the furniture instances. I did not. Yeah, I did not. I did not. I did not. I did not. So yes, it probably arrived here, but this was empty. This thing was empty. That is what happened. So I need to when I generate the dungeon, which is here, interactable, set is lootable, set is set is lootable and assign a loot entry ID, right? So we need to call on the dungeon object, right? So we need to say furniture instances add, and I have to add my guy, my interactable, exactly. Now here we need to decide a rule. At the moment the rule is all of them, but I don't think we should have all of them, right? I think we should have just a subset of them. I don't know, certain percent. But for now I'm setting true because it's easier to debug. Because if some of them are, some are not, we are going crazy. Right? So then the next thing we will have to do, we will have to choose what are the pieces that we spawn, right? Barrels or chests or crates or whatever. You know, whatever. I really would like to release this weekend, but I think I cannot. I think I'm too short on time, right? Because I only have tonight, then I have tomorrow probably like 1 hour or so. So basically between 8 and 9 in the evening. And then unfortunately the evening I'm busy. And then it's already Saturday, right? And but anyway, we can also release, you know, Monday or Tuesday or next week, and I mean it's not a big deal. But I think that I wanted to release this and see and start to see how it plays out in practice, right? So how people go through it and how they feel about it. Okay, let's see how many pieces we spawned just for just to know. 2. So we have 2 lootable furniture items. Okay. So what we want to see that when we loot one, right? When we loot one, so add one. What was the name? Add one. Add lootable. And looted one furniture, right? This one. So maybe I can put a breakpoint here, but basically this should be our gatekeeper for so okay, one piece is here and we loot it, right? Well, if you are too, yeah, maybe we can increase the range. If you are too far, the right click does nothing because you are not in use range. I don't know. Request loot is fine. What is this? Play control? No, we should remove this from the. Check whether the target is lootable, interactable. No, I don't need these breakpoints at the moment. Looted one furniture immediately? Huh? Okay, because they were the breakpoints, and so actually it's like if I clicked on the icon. So actually we looted it. So we looted one, right? We looted one. But did we go into the remaining? I didn't see that. Did we went through this? I don't know, I did it quick, so I didn't really see if we went through this, but fine. Let's search the second one, which by the way should be here because there are only very few rooms. Sorry, I came that way. So it should be this way, yeah? Okay, the second one is here. At the moment it looks the same, but it's fine. So I'm looting this. And yes, we go through remaining. Remaining should now be 0. Yes, we start our timer, right? And we actually loot the stuff. Okay, good. So apart from the fact that now I have 1,000,000 objects, so I should probably drop a few and delete them in 60 seconds. Right, in 60 seconds. Well, I can put a breakpoint on the trigger, maybe. The trigger is inside dungeon start at the end, so it's actually here. Well, we can probably put a trigger on this guy. Yeah, here. So when this happens, they will become lootable again. Just destroying stuff. Because I have too many items. Okay, in 60 seconds. Now, it happened now. Okay, good. Yep, we are setting as lootable 1 and we are setting as lootable 2. Okay, perfect. So I think it worked. So now if I go back, so we 60 seconds went through, right? In theory, 1 hour went through or whatever. And so now we can loot it again if I'm close enough, right? Yes. And this continues because now fuck. I have to reset obviously the lootable furniture to be equal to the total lootable. Otherwise this is now 0 and is resetting again. Okay, it's good that I checked it because it's actually wrong. So when we do the reset, right? When we do the reset, which is here, we also have to set this equal to the total number again, so that we restart from the total count, right? This one, right? Yeah. Otherwise, we will be already at 0. We will be already at 0. Is there a chance that we go below 0? I don't think so. I mean, like if 2 players are clicking on the same thing right at the same time, I don't think there is a chance, because anyway, Unreal Engine is single-threaded, so it will not fuck up. But yeah, now you didn't find anything, right? Do we want to have the message on the screen in addition to the one on the log? Bah, maybe not. Ouch! There was a trap here? Ah, there is a trap, yeah, I didn't even see it. There is a arrow trap. Interesting. Very sneaky. Sneaky. Okay, and it is the main loot. Okay. Okay, so what is left? I mean, apart from testing this reset again that we can do, it's no problem, I can do it. But pretty much, I think that now it will work as expected, right? So what we need... oh yeah, that's very nice. Let me go back to my plan. Searchable furniture in procedural dungeon, right? So what did we do? We did... so this is done. Add the loot icon, remove the use icon, add the lootable property to interactable. So this is all done. That is done. This is not fully done because at the moment I'm assigning a random, I mean not a random, just number 1. But so this we still need to do. Toggle generate the loot and give it to the player, print the message, disable loot until enabled. Yeah, all of this is done. All of this is done. In addition, we also have, yes, for this re-enable, I mean, we can upgrade this to be a real item, because actually we did quite some stuff on this one. Because actually it's based on the dungeon time, right? Yeah. So the only one that is missing is pretty much this, and there is also another one, which is to decide how much to randomize, right? Decide, sorry, how much. So define rule for lootable or not. So how many should be lootable and how many should not be lootable? I mean, what is the percentage? 30% of them or whatever? And should it be based on the position, so that the more you go towards you go deeper into the dungeon and the more there are lootable? I don't think so. I think these lootable are very low level ones. These are all low level ones, and so I think they can be lootable at any time. They can even be in the main, in the start room in theory. I think it would be okay to have it even in the start room. So yeah, we need to define how often I didn't save this. What the fuck? Ah, because it was this one that I remade. Ah, wait. And then I have to do this. Okay, that is the one. That is the one. That is just a copy, so I can close it and delete. And this was also another copy that I can keep, but it's not relevant. So the question to you guys is, how often should we should the percentage of lootable be? So basically every time he's spawning a furniture piece, is rolling a dice and is deciding if that is lootable or not. Should it be 30%, 50%? I don't think it should be more than 50%, because anyway, there is like random additional, you know, spawnable thingies that should not be always. So I think like 30%. I can augment it with the loot quality, because actually we have a parameter here that is called loot quality. It goes from 1 to 10 and we set on the dungeon, right? So in theory it could be 30% plus loot quality, or 30% plus loot quality multiplied by 2. Yeah, maybe. Loot quality. So 30%. So 30%, which means 0.3, because we go from 0 to 1. Plus, right? Let me put a number here. Ouch. So percent of loot will be percent of loot will be 30%, so 0.3 plus in loot quality multiplied by 2, right? I think it's okay. So it basically goes from 30% to 50%. I think it's okay. Depends how many furniture. At the moment we have... Yeah, because we are also randomizing the number of furniture in each room, right? But I think that we would like to have furniture pretty much everywhere. At least one piece, I think, should be in every room. Because the furniture is just to make things a bit nicer, right? That it's not completely empty like it is now. Because at the moment it's very, very bare, right? So there is nothing in that dungeon. I mean, there are a bit of traps, there are a bit of, right? But it looks very empty, so... And we can make it maybe look nicer, just change the room to be nicer, but... I would say 30%, from 30 to 50, where 50 is when you select the maximum loot. Right? Now we still need to decide which loot. So we have to, yeah, another work here will be... so basically this is done, I just did it now, right? So this loot rule ID is actually something different. Is define, right? Is define the loot rules. No, it's more than that, because we have to define the loot rules, yes, but we also have to to know where we put these loot rules, right? So where to store the available loot rules. You know what? I think it may be one. Should it be one or not? Should it be one loot rule only? No, it's impossible because the way our loot rules are designed, right? But we can change that. I think it would be easier to have it in one loot rule only. But I can explain you how our loot rules are designed today. So basically we have a table that is the loot rules and loot rule details, right? And the details is saying for one particular loot rule, so for example this one has 3 lines, right? Maybe I can show you on the console, is easier. I can show you on the console, is way easier. Rules, loot modifiers, no. Loot rules is not under rules. It's probably under NPC. Yeah, because they were used for NPC. So for example, these are the tables, right, that determine how much you get, right, from the one-eyed rat, for example, right? I think this one at the moment is pointing to the real data, so this is kind of real data. Like anyway, a bit of a spoiler there, but it's fine. So this one is saying whenever you kill a rat, right, you have a probability of 30% to get this line. And you have a probability of 40% to get the rat hide, 20% to get the tail, 20% to get the meat, and 50% to get a foot, right? The problem is that this guy is randomizing on all these things. So it means that you may get 5 items in one run if you are lucky, right? And I don't think that this is what we want for our lootable thing is if we create one single loot rule. So what I'm thinking is that at the moment we don't have a way to say to the loot rule, right, I want only one of these items. There is no way to say I want 1, I want 2, I want 3 of these lines to be randomly generated, right? It's just running through all of them, and then is running the dice for the probability. But I think it would be nice if this rule, right, rule number 1, right, which is basically the rule description, right, these loot rules, instead of just having the ID and the name, you could also have another column that is called number of items, something like that, or maybe type, or maybe loot type, right? And loot type can be all, meaning that all the lines are rolled, or it can be a number, and in that case we randomize, because that would be very handy. Then I could have only one loot rule with all the possible items in the dungeon, and then it will just pick 2 of them randomly, right? And they may have higher or lower probability, which is okay. So we can have maybe weapons as 0.05 if we want, right? So very low chances. but I will not have to create one loot rule for each. Because logically, I mean, it is a bit the same because every line is randomized separately, right? So you have, but basically having a number here will tell us. And then the next step would be to say, oh, I want 30% of the time to get one item and 50% of the time to get two items, right? And the rest to get three items. But that is not really... I mean, or we add a column with a whole formula, or I think the one or many items is already good enough. Should we do it? I mean, it's a bit of development because I have to change quite a few things, but I think I can do it. And it will make the loot tables way more flexible than they are today. And to avoid breaking the current game, we will have all on all the existing ones. So the default will be all. Or can be 0, whatever. -1, I don't know. Can be an integer value where 0 means all. Yeah, I think so. Where 0 means all. Do I want to do this now? I mean, it's a good expansion. It's a good expansion, actually. Is a good ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Why this link is not a link anymore? No! What did you do? Why this link is not a link? Fuck. What happened? And now it is a link. Huh? What? What is going on? Is a link only when I'm in edit mode? What the fuck? What? No, actually, loot rules detail table. Yeah, this is what I meant. Ah, that's probably why. Because it's the same page. Because it's the same page. Ah, yes. Okay, it worked now. But anyway, I just wanted to loot rule details. Loot rule details. Yeah, I think I can add this new field. I think it would be pretty good, actually. Because there are two options, right? Option one is to say we create one loot rule. We create a number of loot rules, right? For example, loot 1, apple 20%, you know, healing potion, eating potion 10%, right? There is loot rule 1. Then we say loot rule 2. Loot 2 is, you know, I don't know what we can spawn actually, but mana potion, you know, 10%, and money, I don't know, 100 coins, right? 100 coins, 40%, whatever, and so on, right? We can create loot 3, I don't know, it's only money, so it's money from 10 to 50 coins, right? I don't know, 10% or 20%, right? So we can create these 3 different loot rules, or we can create 10 loot rules, and then we can associate, right, randomly. So we can randomize whenever we associate it to the chest. We can say we can randomize between those, right? Randomize and associate. So we choose 1, 2, or 3, and we associate it to this guy, right? This would be one way. With the current system, it works like this. But it means that if you choose loot 1, right, you will never have loot 2, right? So you will have loot 1, and potentially you get both of them if you are lucky, right? If your roll is below 10%, you get both, right? Another way, right, which is the one I'm thinking, is to say no. Let's create a single loot rule, right? That includes all the items we want, right? That includes all the items we want, except the redundant. Okay, but fine. Yeah, but it can even be like this. It's not a problem. It can even be like this. And this will be, let's say, loot number, I don't know, 5. Only one for all the, we call it loot furniture, right? And this one will have all the elements that we want, but we add a new flag on this loot that is basically randomizing what you get, right? It's basically randomizing what you get. And so we will associate this loot furniture to all the items, right? It will be the same loot rule. So the benefit of having one loot rule is that it's easier to read, right? So you go to the page and you see what you may get, and you I mean, it's a bit easier to maintain, right? It's easier to maintain than maintaining 10 separate loot rules, right? I think it's easier to maintain. The only problem, I think, is that we don't have a way today to tell this guy pick one item, pick 2 items, right, out of this list, or pick all items, right? Obviously, pick all items in this case is crazy because you will get, 20 things, but so we never use pick all items in this particular loot rule, right? Yeah, but basically will be to say, I mean, basically it is to say what is the max, right? What is the max items that you want to pick? Yeah, so I can just add a column, right? I can add a new column in that table, which is called max items, right? And if I say that max item is 3, it will pick 3 lines at random, and then it will randomize based on this percentage. So you may get up to 3, right? If I say max item 0, it will get all of them. I mean, it will randomize on all of them, right? I think it's good. I think it's something that we are missing in the current implementation. So basically, it's another column here. I think I want to do it. So this will be max items. Max is called max items. Is an integer. Is required. The default is 0. And basically 0 means all items. Or a number greater than 0 grab an average 0 selects only, I mean basically randomize max, defines the randomized max number of items. I don't know how to say. 0 means all item, greater than 0 randomizes between all the available up to the given number. I don't know if it's clear, but anyway, it's clear for me. It's clear for me. GG. Okay, so this is an alter table that we have to put in our schema change, because when we will go production, so expansion of loot rules table, right? I mean, it's not too complex to do, but it will require a bit of time. I don't know if we can do it in the half an hour that we have, but yeah. So let me do this also. Okay, this is persist. Yeah. So I want to do it also in the prod 2. Exactly. Okay, 77 lines. So now all the lines should have 0 as default, right? So if we don't change it, everything works already as it was working before. So that basically you get a chance for all the items that are inside. Yeah. So to make this thing work, it should not be too complex, because we actually have preload loot rules. That will make our life much easier for the furniture loot. And it can be used in the future also because it's a better expansion. I mean, is better. Yeah. So entry loot set, loot rule ID, looting find, if not find, ID, loot randomizer, add current set. Huh? Loot entry set. Loot entry set is what? Yeah, loot entry set I think is the one that we. Total probability. Total probability. We don't even keep the name. So this name is not even read. It's only for us to. Okay, it's fine. I always like to have this. It is not, you know. I don't understand too much this loot randomizer, right? So, why we pass the loot randomizer in? So well, it's only a pointer, so I think it's fine. Okay, it's okay. Okay, so now we have the number of the max items loaded. Well, not loaded because I didn't do anything here, but we need to put, yeah, exactly, int max items equal to result get int max items, and this thing goes here, right? Looting. What is this looting thingy? Yeah, it's okay. It's just keeping the. This thing is keeping. That's not very clear, but fine. I think this one keeps all the entry sets. Yeah. And then the loot entries are the ones from loot rule detail. Wait a second. Fuck. Nope. Nope. Because no, we have to select from both tables, huh? Because here we are selecting only from loot rules detail, but I think we are never probably selecting in the world. Yeah, exactly. We are never selecting from loot rules. Okay, but we need now, because the idea. Okay, so let's say select star from loot rules, right? Al LR and loot rules details, right? Where lr.id, well, lr.id is equal to lr detail dot whatever loot rule, I guess, is named loot rule ID. Okay, loot rule ID. Wait, what did I do here? What? Can I copy this column name, please? Thank you. Okay, where our loot rule ID is equal to loot rule details, loot rule ID. Okay, and loot rule ID is greater than 0. Okay, so now we have, now the only problem is that certain columns will be the same, like for example ID will be ambiguous, right? Will be an ambiguous name. Probably. But we don't even extract it, so we don't even care about it. We don't even extract the ID of the loot rule, because this is the ID. Yeah, I think it's okay. And max items is anyway a unique name, so I don't think we will mess up, because well, it's called max item, which I guess is a bit confusing. Yeah, well, should we call it differently? Not max items, but call it max. No, I think it should be max items. It's just at a different level. These are the rule level, and the other one is at the detail level, right? But yeah, it can be a bit confusing with this field. But anyway. Okay, so we created this way. Then this loading is the same. This loading is the same. We just need to see if it works. But then after we have this loading done, after we have this loading done, I need basically I need I use it only when I randomize, right? Because here in the loading, I think I don't care. I just store this value. It's only when I use the loot randomizer, right? So when I go loot entry set, so wherever we have loot entry set in the code, which I guess is quite a few places, but we should not be scared, because the majority is declarations, right? Like this. Majority is declaration, so easy. Spawn rule. Yeah, and this one, by the way, is inside exactly, so it doesn't really matter. This doesn't matter, this doesn't matter, this doesn't matter. All this stuff doesn't matter, it stays the same, it stays the same. Stays the same. Okay, so basically here. Yeah. Every time we call this guy, we should not be in too many places, huh? That is the declaration, right? And we use it only in 2 places. We use it in place furniture in room, our guy that we just added now, and the spawn multi, right? And the loot set. Okay. Well, I was also expecting to see it. Yeah, but this is not making any difference. The place where we have to do the reasoning is inside this. Create multiple loot, right? Create multiple loot. I think it's only one place. Exactly. So this is the difference, right? That cycle on all entries is not anymore the case. is not anymore the case. Because we need to select the entries that we want. So I actually need to randomize. So how do I do this? I need to randomize X amount of entries. I need to randomize X amount of entries. So do I pick a random? Yeah, I just exactly I just pick a random ID of my. Yeah, exactly. I just pick a random ID. So I create an array with the entries we want to parse, right? So, and the T array will be just a T array of int, which is indexes, right? And it will be called wanted indexes, something like that, right? And we just be empty at the beginning. And then if our max items is equal to 0, basically we want all of them, right? So we want all the, so our wanted indexes basically becomes the keys of entries. Can we do that? Can we get keys? No, that would have been too nice. Because it is a set, but it's not really a set. I cannot say... I cannot say get ID... No, yeah, it would make no sense, probably. To get all the indexes with as an array. No, I think that it doesn't exist. So if item is equal to 0, we just right, for each entry, which is actually an int of our entries, right? No, actually our entries is a loot entry star. Exactly. For each one, we just do. No, I cannot do it like this. I have to do a normal. I have to do a normal for. Okay. I have to do normal for because I need the I. Yeah. So wanted indexes. So we'll do. I know it looks a bit weird, but it looks weird because here is all, right? And all, I mean, it's a bit stupid, but it's what it is. So we want all the entries. So I need to for loop into this, and the max is my entries num, right? So it's basically the same for I do down here, right? And I add I. So I say, if I have the max items, just add all the indexes, right? And then obviously here we will then run on wanted indexes, and we will use entries of what? Right? This will be like this. So this wanted index will become my entries of I, right? Fuck, this entries of I is like annoying. But I think it's okay. I mean, I just have to avoid messing up. If I keep I somewhere, I'm fucked. Like here, for example. I was just about to. Okay. right? You know what I can do? I can change it to J, so we are sure that I can change this to J so that if I missed one, it would not compile. Exactly, and here is the first one. It is the first one that I actually missed. Okay, so if it's all is all. If it's not all, right? If it's not all, I will, and this is why we made it, right? So if we want only specified number of entries, then I will have basically to randomize, right, for each of the entries that we have, which is basically max items, I will randomize one of the indexes and I will add it to my wanted index, right? So I will randomize, so this will be my int rand index equal to fmat whatever, rand range of so we go from 0 to we go from 0 to what? To entry num, right? To entry num minus 1, right? We go from 0 to entry num minus 1, and we then take our random index and we put it here, right? So we basically pick randomly one of these lines, okay? One of these lines randomly. Now, the only problem could be if max items is greater than the entries that we have here, right? That would be a problem. I mean, that would be a mistake in the definition. And I think that we need to actually bail out if that happens when we do the loading. I think so. I think I don't want to load stuff that is actually inconsistent. So I want when, where was that? Preload something. We were in preload here, right? Preload root rules. Yeah. So if the max items, right? If the max item here, I could do a kind of a consistency check, but because I don't know it until we finish, right? Yeah, that's annoying. Consistency check max items cannot be greater than the number of entries, right? So unfortunately I will have to loop again. For this time we loop for each of the entry set, right? So we loop for each of the looting, whatever. Looting is a loot entry set. A loot entry set. So we loop for each of those. And I know it's a T map. It's not an array. What? This thing is a T map. Fuck. So in this case, how do we do it? We do it like this, or what? Come on, don't be stupid. We cannot do it like this, huh? We cannot do it like this, but we can do it like this, I guess. No? We cannot, huh? I think we did it the other day, no? I'm always confused when I have to loop with this 4 syntax on a T map. Wasn't there key and value, or was why? Fuck, every time I forget this. Every time I forget this. It doesn't let me, huh? Doesn't let me. Fuck. I think it was this way though. With a T pair? No, huh? It's not, huh? Fuck. I think we did it the other day, but okay, we can do it the normal way. It's kind of annoying on a T map though. Okay, let's just do it with the normal key, right? So this one we return and then key and value. Oh, GG, bro. I would never ever remember this. I mean, I was close, but yeah, but not close enough. So basically, you only specify the types, and then you use key and value. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I would have never remembered this. Okay. So now I forgot what we were doing. Ah, yes, we were doing the consistency check. So consistency check is pair key, right? I mean, let's not call it pair. Let's call it loot entry, right? Loot entry. Loot entry is much more understandable. So loot entry of key is my int. I don't care about that. I only care about my value. And I want to see my loot entry set. The skull is set equal loot entry value. And then I want to check if the set add current entries. Can I access this directly or not? I don't know. Can I access entries here or is inaccessible? Is inaccessible, obviously. Obviously is inaccessible because it needs to be annoying. So we say if the number of entries is less than what? Less than max items. Also max items is not. Also max items is not accessible. GG. Okay, right? So if this happens, means that we have an inconsistency, and in this case, I would like to really bail out. So this one will fail. Actually, this one is not returning. Oh wow, we are not tracking this error. Uh-oh. Today we are not tracking this error at all. That's pretty bad, actually. Why? So we assume just that it works, huh? Well, I mean, I don't think it's a great idea. Why? I mean... No, boys. This should be tracked. If we fail to load something in this, we should bail out. We should quit from the server. I don't know why we don't do it. I don't know why we don't do this. So we will ask... I don't think we have the last DB error here, but... So here we want to exit, guys. We want to really completely exit from the... We stop the server because there is a loading time, and if we have inconsistent data in the database, I don't even want to start the game, right? That's the kind of the basic rule that we apply pretty much everywhere. So so basically this, right? Yeah. Exactly. So the same shit. So this needs to become a boolean, actually. And this also needs to become a boolean. Because they need to be able to fail. They need to be able to fail. Exactly. Exactly. And so here we say error error, and we say basically that the specific loot entry ID, right? Loot entry set, and then we put the ID as that number of items, but max items is defined as that number of items, right? So we will say set get ID, and then we say set num entries, and then we will say set max entries, right? So we print out everything and we stop. Well, we can just return false, and the calling function will actually exit. Otherwise we return true. Okay, nice. Like this is much better because, yeah, like this is much better. And so here we say if not preload rules, return false, right? And otherwise we say this, we do this. Here we also return false. And here at the end we return true. Okay, these are all good changes. Now we are a bit short on time. Fuck, it's midnight 10. It's 10 minutes after midnight, so I don't really have a lot of extra time, but also because I also wanted to speak with one guy. You there now? Okay, so anyway, I think we made good progress. Basically, I added this new capability, which I don't know exactly if it's gonna work, but we have to test it a bit. And the new capability is that one loot rule can specify also the number of items that you want to be randomized. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking something even more than this. Oh my god, I just had a much better idea. I had just a much better idea. Because, I mean, this is okay, but what if you can... No, I don't think it makes sense. No, I was thinking that to pass that number at runtime, right? So that you decide, you know, now is 3, now is 2, now is 1. It's an interesting idea, but I think it's probably not needed. Build succeeded with warnings. No, because, okay, now that we have... let me just think one more thing and then I go to bed. Now that we have this, right, what happens? Now that we have this... What is this part all commented, by the way? No idea. Now that we have this, when we randomize, so in create multiple loot, right? So inside create multiple loot, exactly. Inside, so now, because now we have everything that we need, right? So we do this, we create an array with the entries, blah 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 blah. We need only the entry specified number of entries, da 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 da. And yeah, I mean, it's basically done because if we cycle properly on these wanted indexes, which I assume now we do, so let's say that we say we have 2 items out of 5, right? 2 items out of 5. So this will randomize 2 items out of... but it can randomize the same one. Fuck. It can randomize the same one. Yep. Is there a randomize unique or no? It doesn't exist, randomize unique. I don't think it does. It will probably create an array and remove the items like I do all the time, but... yeah, exactly. It's removing it from the... annoying. So we need, to generate a unique, this is not really working because I need to create my... okay, well we can do this anyway. Yeah, we can do it like this. Default all entries, right? Default all entries. And we populate this array with all of them. And then we just add it to a new array. Right? Let me think about it. Okay, I will think about it, guys. But basically what we need to do, I have to go now. But we have to basically get all our items, right? Always. And then if we need only we only need a specified number of items, we will randomize, put into another array, and then copy that array over the previous array, right? So that is basically what we have to do. I think it's the easiest way. So this will be like temp indexes, right? We go through this, we add the temp indexes here, right? We add here, and we remove from wanted indexes, right? We remove from wanted indexes yeah. So I don't randomize on entries num, but I randomize on wanted indexing num, right? So that when I remove the next randomization, we'll have one element less, correct? Correct. Okay, so we remove from there, then we do it again, right? We do it again. And so, yeah. And then here, after this 4, right? I think we can do with the else though. I think with the else is probably better. No? Because when we come out of here, we have to assign we have to say that wanted indexes is equal to our temp indexes, right? So that we only put in the 2 that we selected. And then from here down is the same. Because we need unique items, right? We need unique items. So we do this removal because we want unique items. We don't want to pick the same number twice. Right? Because it would not make no sense. Okay, good guys. I think I'm gonna go. I think we made very good progress tonight. And we basically the furniture thing is working. Now we also have this additional capability. I just need to create loot rules, right? So define where to store the available loot rules. With this new thing that we just did now in the last half an hour or so, I can store it just in one single rule, right? I can store everything there, and it can be maybe by dungeon. Yeah, it should be by dungeon. Yeah, so this is the beauty now, because now that I have that, I can create one loot rule per dungeon type, right? And yep, that's very, very nice. Right? That's very, very nice. So yeah. It all matches now. Yep. Okay, good guys. I'm gonna go. It's fairly late, so speak to you soon. I will not be here tomorrow evening because I'm playing roleplay tabletop, but I will be here on Saturday afternoon about 4 p.m., 5 p.m. around that time, and we will continue with this. I don't think we will have a release this weekend, but let's see. Maybe magic happens, and yep, and we will do it. So with that, I would say bye. See you guys Saturday. Bye. Bye.